30 minutes of power.
Welcome to Top 30 Minutes of Power, a podcast dedicated to encourage, educate, and inspire godly women to pursue their passions, with hosts Jory O'Neill and Nicole Salter. Thanks for coming. Let's get ready to power up.
Got it.
All right, welcome to Top 30 Minutes of Power. Yeah, one-stop shop for all things motivational to Christian women across the universe. I'm your host, Jory O'Neill, and with us tonight, we have my fabulous co-host, Nicole Salter. How you doing, friend?
Hey, how are you? Excited to be here today.
Yes. And if you do not recognize the woman's face at the bottom of your screen, this is Kim Coleman. She's our new friend. She is our new friend. And Kim is, she's a jack of all trades. Sometimes people are like, Jory, you do the most. I'm like, well, not anymore. Because I just found somebody to do it more. I was like, wow, that's amazing. That's so amazing. So Kim, thank you so much for joining us this evening. I'm super excited to share and learn about you. So in case anyone is like, oh, her face looks familiar. Kim and I had the blessing of being able to share at a recent Women's Day event last month in October. And my mom liked you, by the way. She said, I like that lady. I like the lady. The last lady was nice.
Thanks, Jory's mom.
But I was sharing with Nicole earlier. I said, she was funny, engaging, like the practicals, like boom, 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 super succinct, concise. Like I loved it. And so I was like, I need to know more about this woman. Like, and we were in the same ministry for a little bit, not too long. But I was like, I feel like there's so much more to this story. And so because we are in the series, History Determines Her Story. We're doing Herstory Matters. And Kim, your story matters. And I would love for our listeners to be able to hear it. So let's start off. First things first. 20 words or less. Who is Kim Coleman? No,
2 words or less. Kim Coleman is a New York City wife, mother, daughter of God, and a professional content creator.
Wow. I love when people put professional in front of stuff. That means she get paid to do it, people.
Yes.
I don't know if you... Some people create content and nobody pays for it. It's just sitting on your YouTube channel. But she's a professional content creator. So what types of content do you create? So if someone had an interest in wanting to know about X, what would that X be for you?
Well, I've been very fortunate that I have done this for almost 17 years. I was in corporate America when I had my oldest son, Michael, who is now 18. And then when I was going to go back after maternity leave, I just couldn't leave him. It was so cute with his little chunky self, and I didn't have any family or anyone around to watch him. And at that time in the news, it seemed like every week it was a story about somebody doing something to a kid. So my husband, Reggie, and I, we decided that as long as we could afford it financially, that I would stay at home with the kids. Now, we didn't think it would be a long while because he's a New York City teacher. So, actually, he does pretty well for a teacher, but we didn't think I would be home for a while. But God blessed the decision. And I went from being a corporate person to being a parenting writer within a year. And I've worked from home around my family schedule ever since. I had a blog, Mom in the City, and it just documented my life as a mom. And I got paid to do that. And at one point, as the kids got older and their stories became more of their own, I kind of switched over to writing more about food because food doesn't talk back. I had a site, Foodie City Mom, that I folded back in to Mom in the City. And it was great. It was above and beyond my dreams. I mean, I ended up on Times Square bulletin board like twice because of these different projects I've had. It's blessed my family in so many different ways. My kids have had experiences that I didn't have until I was in my 30s, 40s. They're like at Disney and all these different places on cruises. And a lot of it was based on the parenting work that I did. So being a professional content creator, primarily focused on parenting and food, has been a gift these last almost 2 decades. Now that my oldest is graduated, my topic is college prep, because I'm a teacher by nature, like not profession nature. If I learn something, I'm going to teach it. And so, as I was sharing before, my son, he's now a freshman in college, but last year when he was going through the college application process, his school was so great about it that it was relatively stressless. My son went to Townsend Harris, which is the #1 public high school in New York. So they fight to keep up their reputation, and they have great guidance, great PTA. But at the same time, my son's friends who went to local schools, they weren't getting that preparation. He actually was helping a lot of them, letting them know, you need to do this, you need to do that. He is my child. And so I had kept everything that they sent over the years and say, you know what, I was keeping it for my younger son. So we would have this guideline, but I'm like, let me share it with everybody else. So now I have a site called College Prep Mom, and it's laying the foundation this year of the college application process and admissions process.
Amazing. And so I know a lot of our listeners are desiring that 4-hour work week type life. They are desiring that lifestyle living, right? Where you live and your lifestyle is the main focus, and the work is going around the lifestyle. And that's what you mentioned initially. And so how did you, I'm not say stumble, but how did you go from corporate to blogging? Like, how does that transition? Like, were you a corporate writer? Like, how does that pendulum swing like that?
I worked in investment banking, and then my last job before I left corporate, I was working at Time Inc. in the sales development. So no, I was definitely a finance and research person. I mean, a finance and sales person, but I had a strong background in research. And the thing is, I didn't even know what a blog was. Hi, Miss Linda. I didn't even know what a blog was, but after so I had a year of maternity leave. And then when I decided not to go back, I just loved being a mom. I just loved it. It was so cute.
I want to see some baby pictures of Michael after this. That's
he was a chunk. He's slim now, but he was such a cute chunk. But I joke. I'm like, I'm a reformed type A. Let's just say I'm a type B plus personality. So I've always had multiple things going on at once.
Okay.
So I loved it, but he didn't need me 24/7. So I started to think, okay, well, what can I do to help supplement the family income while I'm with my baby? And so I was like, but this is me. I live from my imagination. I'm like, I'll be a parenting writer. No experience, nothing. But
this is the thing.
Writer.
And this is the thing that, like, we, Nicole and I, we really try to encourage people, just like, start from where you are. Like, you are a mom. You knew how to read. So we just gonna figure it out. We gonna fill in the gap.
Yes, I do believe, like Marie Forleo, she's a great speaker, and she has this phrase, everything is figure outable. I really believe that also. But anyway, so I saw an opening for a family editor and guide at it was something called Parent Zone. Eventually it was owned by Disney, but it was a network of parenting sites. And so I applied. I didn't even hear back because I I had no credentials, but I was like, okay, well, nobody's going to hire me for it. Well, let me just do it myself. And so I heard about these things called blogs, and I made a decision. He's like, you know what? I'm going to do it consistently 5 days a week and see what happens.
Wow.
And so I started the blog, and I started doing it 5 days a week. And within a few months, I got on someone's radar. I was invited to Disney's Mom Blogger Conference for moms of color. And from that, Steve Harvey and them took notice of me. They had me cover his Dreamers Academy at Disney. And it just went from there. And so a year later, I saw that the same position that I had applied for initially was open again. I was like, okay, well, let me try again. And this time, instead of ignoring me, the question was, what can we do to get you?
Wow. And so
all of that within a year.
So 1 year. So 1 year later, you went from a hard, like, you're not even worth us responding via email.
So what can we do to get you?
What carrots do we need to dangle in front of you to get you to come to us? Wow. Love that.
Yeah, that was a God moment.
And so did you have any idea on how to start a website or a blog space or any of this was familiar or any?
No. Well, originally Mom in the City was a website. My husband is a computer programmer by trade. And now he does math. He did Teachers Fellows and changed careers, but he's a computer programmer. So he did the website initially. But I'm the type of person who I want to be able to do my own stuff and not have to wait for people. So when you have a traditional website, you have to really know code and all those things. And so I got tired of waiting for him to do it. And so I read about these things called a blog. At that point, I wasn't reading blogs. I didn't know what a blog was, but I saw that it was an easy system to share information. So set up a WordPress blog so I could do it myself. And I've been doing it ever since. And then later down the line, I really liked it and ended up creating blogs and websites for other bloggers and small business owners for a 3-year period. So once again, you can figure things out. Most things, like I tell my kids, most things are not brain surgery. If you mess up, you try again. Now, brain surgery, go to school, get an education. But most things, it's okay to be trial and error.
Wow. That is it. Listen, if ain't nothing else encouraging, is look, I'm gonna figure out a way to stay home with my baby. We gonna make this work. I'm gonna figure it out. Listen. So you went from blogging every day, and all you were doing was documenting what was happening, or were you reading books and articles and trying to figure out like how you can share it from your perspective? Like, because there's a lot of people who are looking for quote unquote side hustles or side gigs or ways to share information and then recoup some of those expenses. So I'm just fascinated because this I knew you had Mom in the City. I knew it was Mom in the City. Knew about that. But all this other stuff.
I'm like glued to the computer. Tell me more. I'm listening.
And the truth is, it was God's blessing and timing, because back then it wasn't as saturated as it is today. Back then, you could basically do anything, and companies were throwing product and money at you. It's a different world today. But so a lot of it was timing and grace, but also a lot of it was consistency and building a good reputation. Because the thing is, it was all different types of bloggers. when we'll all approach things in different angles. For instance, like I had a friend who's very funny. So whatever she wrote, anything, it was very comedic. It was very entertaining. But I'm more so, like I said, my heart is to teach. So I'm the one who's going to go to an event and find out all the details that I think anyone would want to know as a parent and share that. So I was definitely more educational, informative. I did share my life, but I was also very protective of my life because the thing is, blogs come and go, family is forever. So what I saw a lot of bloggers back then, because it was diary type blogging, shared a lot about their life. And it's one thing to share about your mess, but then when you're sharing about other people's mess, it damaged some relationships. And that was not even an option for me. My husband is relatively private and he's a teacher also. So I need to protect that. I don't want to give his students ammunition. Well, your wife said you did this. No. And also I wanted respect. I think respect is a big thing in my household, in my family. So if they wanted me to tell their story about something, I would. But mainly it was the shared experiences, potty training, first day of school, mom mistakes. I remember one of my more popular ended up being syndicated stories was one of my bad mommy moments. My son, I thought my son was faking because he was like breathing heavy when we were walking up a hill, and it turned out he had really, really bad asthma. And the doctor was checking his breathing, and she was like, "It's not bad, it's awful." I was like, "Oh, worst mom ever." So, failure bonds. There are no perfect moms. I never put myself out there to be one, but I am someone who's good at simplifying things. So I just tried to make whatever it is that I'm sharing. How can this be easier? How can this be fun? And so that's it. That was my approach to parenting. That's my approach to cooking. That's my approach basically to life. I really believe in Ecclesiastes when the scriptures say, enjoy your life with your wife whom you love. Like that's my life motto. Enjoy your life with the people you love, doing the things you love as much as possible, and help somebody along the way. That's it.
Super simple. I love it. And so in terms of titles, in case someone asks you, like, who are you? What do you do? In 5 words, I said 20. If I say 5 words, you are a processor. You literally are a human walking processor. Like, your husband might work on computers, but you is a computer. You take all this. No, seriously. And that's a gift. Like, when people think about gifts of the spirit, like teaching is a gift, but even in teaching, it's broken down. And so if you're able to take a large amount of information and then funnel it down to bite-sized, easy, actionable chunks, that is literally called a processor. That's what a computer does.
I'll take it.
So I'm interested to learn about this cooking, because mom in the city, parents, fails, successes, college, preparatory, and then like cooking.
Well, you're a parent, so you know that food is a big part of parenting, right?
I don't.
You don't? Okay. Well, y'all are like, no?
No, I'm agreeing with you. Okay. Because my children, especially my son, he refuses to eat lunch at school. Like, he wants nothing to do with school lunch. And so we have to make them lunch every morning. And for some reason, like, the state of Florida feels like we're rich, right? And so they want to charge us $3 a day for lunch. And I'm like, that's $6. That's about $120 a month for lunch. Jeez, come on.
No, I hear you. But what's crazy is New York has free lunch for all, no matter what your income is. But my kid ain't having it.
And see, and
when it was free, they didn't have it.
And that's where you messed up, because I feed my kids. The food is so bad that school lunch is like a delicacy.
Okay, so now, so now I see why you think it's a hard jump from parenting to food.
Yeah, because in my mind, I'm like, oh, like I asked my son, I say, baby, you want me to make you breakfast this morning? No, thanks. I'll eat at school. I'm like, okay. Save more money. Sounds great to me.
No, I am in a household of men folk who all love to eat. They're all teeny weeny, but they all will eat you under the table. They are all eaters. And it's funny because as a parenting writer, one of the topics I had started writing about was food when Sean, my youngest, was starting to eat, because he's what I call my selective eater. My oldest son, Michael, he eat anything. He's more adventurous in eating than even I am.
Give it to Mikey. He'll eat anything.
Yes, all different. Yeah.
That's my
Mikey, he likes like all different type of ethnic foods he will try. Sean, he was the stereotypical American kid, but I wasn't having it. We didn't do chicken nuggets or things like that. You're gonna eat what I cook. But it was figuring out like, okay, he did have some texture issues. So you deal with what's real and then try to make the other things something that they can at least eat, if not enjoy. And it was trial and error. Like, for instance, my child doesn't like broccoli when it's cooked certain ways, but he loves roasted broccoli. Like, he will eat all of the roasted broccoli. So I learned a lot of it was introducing things in different ways. And so that piece had gotten picked up, and Hidden Valley Ranch, I think, contacted me, and I did a program with them. And when I had Foodie City Mom, which was just focused on food, I did brand programs with things like crafts, Udi's gluten-free. I went gluten-free for a month to try out their foods. In Valley Ranch, I created recipes for their site and all these things. So it was, it's just a part of the life. And then I did a ebook, a soul food ebook called Easy Soul Food Recipes, and Amazon reached out to me to partner on something. So, you just put it out there. You never know what's going to connect, what's not. And the Easy Soul Foods, because I'm from the South, right? So those are our treat foods, not our daily foods, but our treat foods. And if you're Southern, if somebody can cook them or if they can't. So I learned from the best. So yeah, like amazing. I said, I learn, I teach.
That is amazing and extremely inspiring. And so at what age did you, I guess, start realizing that you could pretty much do anything you put your mind to? Was that something, growth mindset? Was that something that your parents instilled in you from early on? Did you have to overcome a fixed mindset at some point? I'm interested to learn like when that switch flipped and you were like, wait a minute.
Yeah, you've read Carol Dweck, huh? Fixed versus set mindset. No, I really believe in that. But I think it's a combination. I do think people are a combination of nature and nurture. You come into the world a certain way, and then it's nurtured and groomed for the good or the bad. And I just came into the world that way. I came into the world like I just had my own mind about things. One of our family fables, I don't know, it was true, but when a family story gets exaggerated over time. But I was a little girl, and I was getting ready to get a spanking because I was messing with the outlet, and my dad popped me once, and I was sitting on his lap. He had his shirt up. I bit him in the stomach. And he never spanked me since. So, I wouldn't advise that to little kids. But it was one of those family stories because my dad's this big, scary guy. But it just came into the world that way. And I do think that it was nurtured, especially by my mom, because I grew up with my mom primarily. And I was just very blessed. I was having this conversation with someone like, I've just been blessed my whole life that I've always had someone who believed in me and thought I was great, both inside and outside of the household. teachers or counselors or someone. And so to the point where if you wanted to tell me differently, I'm just not going to agree with you, whoever you were. Because I remember when I decided I wanted to go to Columbia, is the one time in my life that my mom was like, who do you think you are? And she was saying it from frustration because she couldn't afford it. Like, it wasn't like, it was like, and I understand it now as a parent, you know, you want to be able to do everything that your kid wants, but sometimes you can't afford it. And so it was said out of frustration. But the problem is she had already built up in me that I am who I say I am. And if I say I'm going to Columbia, I'm going to Columbia.
Yep.
And I did. I called the dean of Columbia and I was like, look, I need to be there. And I was crying. And he was like, okay, calm down. I'm going to have someone call you. Because you know men are good with tears. And I went to Columbia. I went to Columbia with less than $20 in my pocket. And I knew practically I need to find a job that pays cash, that's within walking distance of the school the first week. And I'm good. Because, you know, room and board is covered. And that's what I did. I found a babysitting job. So that's it. And the reason why the amount, because what little my mom did have, they spent in getting all the things you need to have in order to get to college and come to college. So, and she was proud of me. She's amazing. But yeah, but I'm like, it's your fault. You're the one who got me thinking I could do whatever I want. And, you know, that has its pros and its cons. But in that situation, it turned out to be a pro. This is where God wanted me, so I could use it.
Amen. Thank you for listening. We pray you have been empowered by the message. If you'd like to be a part of the conversation, join our free Facebook group, AZ Iron Sharpens Iron. Every Monday, 7:30 Eastern Standard Time, meet us back here for another session of empowerment. Share this episode with another woman who needs to be empowered. And don't forget to like and subscribe. Until next time, be an empowered woman using your power to empower others.
30 minutes of power.